Welcome to Love Lies Horizons. I'm your host, a man who's seen the highs and lows of love and life over the past 4 decades. With wealth and experience on my side, I've learned that not everyone deserves your trust or your heart. Join me as we explore the depths of human relationships, where love isn't always as it seems, and betrayal can come from the most unexpected places. Welcome to Love Lies Nature, where every story has a lesson, and every lesson has the power to change your perspective on love and trust. I discovered my wife cheating with my brother and pregnant with his baby. After our divorce, my family begged for money following my promotion. My wife, 37, got a new job 4.5 months ago and made some new friends. I, 36M, didn't really like them. They were all hardcore feminists and professional victim types. They were women who would yell at you for opening the door for them or not opening the door for them. You couldn't win either way. In the beginning, I laughed it off, but during the last 2 months, I noticed some disturbing changes in my wife. We had been married for 11 years and had 2 kids, 10 and 8. Things got worse and worse. She would accuse me of all kinds of nonsense, like I was born evil because men suppressed women historically. Whatever I did for her, things she would normally appreciate, suddenly became reasons to fight. It was all nonsense. I tried to be patient, and these arguments would usually end with me saying something like, "But I haven't done anything bad towards you. The only thing I'm guilty of is loving you." This would usually make her murmur, but the next day she would be back with slightly different arguments. About 5 weeks ago, I got a sharp gut feeling that something was seriously wrong. She came back late at night without telling me she would be late. I couldn't reach her phone. She was rather drunk and acted distant and cold. The next day, she would just be dismissive and tell me I was being controlling, that I read too much into things. This happened a few more times. I tried to snoop on her phone, but didn't find anything definite. Though I suspected she had deleted a lot of messages, I did find a thread with one of her new friends discussing how she would approach me about an open relationship. I immediately knew what my instincts were telling me. She was cheating. In the thread, my wife said she would talk to me about it on the second Monday of December. My kids were with their grandparents to celebrate Christmas. We were scheduled to join them that day. So, anyway, she tries to start this conversation during breakfast, asking me what I think about an open relationship, as if it was just a thought out of the blue. Luckily, I was prepared. I was already recording. I had been reading a lot on Reddit and knew there was no way of saving this. My best possible outcome was to get out of this with some sliver of pride and self-esteem intact. From here on out, it was all about protecting myself and the kids. I didn't scream or yell. I just went directly into jaw-clenched interrogation mode. She was cocky up until this point, but that evaporated immediately when she saw the look on my face. Me. Who is he? She. What do you mean? She tried to look innocent like she didn't understand. Me. If you want to have this conversation with me, don't treat me like an idiot and at least be honest. If you can't be honest, what's the point of this conversation? She. What do you mean? Me. If you lie to me now, we cannot have the discussion you want to have about our relationship. I can tell that you're hiding something. It's obvious. So, who is the guy you are sleeping with? She. I am not. Me. Oh my God, it's more than one. She. Me. Me. Don't just lie. You have totally destroyed my trust in you. Either you are honest and we talk this through, or I divorce you. Our marriage ends right now. No arguments, no discussion, no nothing. Just divorce. Do you understand? She. But. Me. Say it. Do you understand? Do you understand that if you lie, I will divorce you? Say it. Do you understand that I already know a lot? I can read you like a book. If I catch you lying, we are over. Tell me you understand. She. I understand. She proceeded to tell me about 2 one-night stands while out with her friends. I asked about their names, if they were married, if she wore protection, etc. They were both married men with kids. Then she told me she was planning to sleep with a colleague at work, and that she intended to pursue this since it's good for her, and that I don't have any right to control her. What the F? I asked about the colleague as well, and got his name and his wife's name. He was married, but, according to her, in an open relationship like she wanted us to be. She continued that she would set me up with some of her friends. One of them was really keen, apparently. What in the actual F? I've seen this friend and wouldn't touch her with a barge pole. I told her I was not interested. I asked for her phone, and she showed me the pattern to open it. While she went to the bathroom, I locked myself in my office. She freaked out, and while she was banging on the door, I ran recovery software on the phone for deleted content and ended up with lots of painful evidence. 30 minutes later, I also installed a spying app from an online service. When I came out, I gave her the phone and told her to leave. She argued a lot. I didn't really respond beyond single-word responses. She didn't seem remorseful at all through all of this. She was yelling at me that I was acting controlling, holding her back like men always held women back, that I never loved her, that she had every right to do this, that she expected me to just accept this, that it wasn't a big deal, etc. I didn't argue back. I hardly said a word. I just packed her stuff while she circled, yelling at me. I ended up at the front door, where I just stood silently until she ran out of steam. In the end, she reluctantly went to her parents' house. On her way down the stairs, I told her she was single now, so she could do whatever she wanted. I wasn't controlling her anymore. My lawyer would be in touch in January. When she turned to respond, I just slammed and locked the door. I later watched as she discussed it with her friends. They were telling her how strong she was, demanding what she was entitled to, how she deserved better than me, that it was empty threats from my side, that I wouldn't go through with it. You want to bet? What really worried me was how they told her that if needed, she could just accuse me of domestic abuse. One of them explained how she had screwed over her ex-husband and taken everything from him by accusing him of abuse. I have ordered cameras to put up at my house now. I know now I have to record everything. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I have never ever threatened her in any way. Then she started messaging her affair partner to meet up. They agreed to meet at a hotel. I was absolutely stunned. I went online trying to find the app's wife. It didn't take long. I got her to accept me as a friend on Facebook, and I told her everything, including the ongoing activity at the hotel. She thanked me and hung up. A few hours later, I got a video from her. She went to the motel and confronted them. From the screaming, it wasn't the first time her husband had cheated. "You effing blank! You do this to me again, to the kids again. I told you we were over if you ever did this again," she shouted as she walked into the room and filmed my wife getting dressed on the edge of the bed. I threw up when I saw that the first time. The wife slapped her and forced her out. I said to myself. You are not my wife. I don't know you. My wife would never condemn our children to the pain and suffering of growing up in a broken home. You, whoever you are, seem to be proud of what you have done. My wife was loving, caring, considerate, my best friend. You are a self-obsessed, self-absorbed abomination. The messages stopped after that last one. The pain is absolutely unbearable at times. I wish this never happened. I wish I could get back with her like before, but I just can't do that to myself. This is the worst Christmas ever. I couldn't help myself but explain to the kids that Mommy doesn't want to be a family anymore. She wants to be with other men and that we will get divorced. They are naturally distraught. Luckily, my mom and dad are here to help. They shower them with love and affection while I am an absolute mess. I will try to get back on my feet for my kids' sake, but I'm not going back to her ever. I wish I had waited until after Christmas so I could get them straight into counseling. I don't know what happened. I just blurted it out when they asked about when their mother would come. I would never be able to look myself in the mirror if I went back to her. The level of disrespect and callousness in her behavior is unforgivable. I am lost. I just don't get it. Why does she expect she can demand anything from me at this point? Is she mentally ill or something? Sorry about the incoherent rant. I just needed to get this out. Edit. I found out that I'm okay with the monitoring. I talked to a lawyer that a friend knows. The phone is mine, and the subscription is mine. My wife is using it, but I own it and the subscription, so I'm okay. It's not illegal to monitor my own equipment. Update 1. Cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? A lot has happened since I last posted. I wish I could take credit for it. But the truth is I've been a pathetic, sobbing mess since I last posted. I was sort of obsessed about my wife's chats with her friends. A lot of insane and hurtful things were said in these chats. What got me in the end, though, was when my wife described in very harsh language how her marriage, and especially her children, were a burden in her life, that they had prevented her from being a successful woman, living up to her full potential. She described how I, as her husband, was an oppressive past that held her back from living a good life. Her family was the reason she didn't have a successful career, loads of casual sex, etc. I just broke. I couldn't handle it. I spent the next 30 or so hours reading and rereading every line of emails and chats I had over and over and over again. On reflection, she didn't provide any details on how we actually were burdens or oppressors. It was just blanket statements with no examples or supporting arguments. In fact, I have never stopped her from doing anything. I pay for almost everything. The minimum wage she collects from her part-time job wouldn't be enough to support anyone. Actually, I have supported her hobbies, dreams, and aspirations, even when she did stupid class after stupid class that she would always drop out of halfway through. I made sure to show her I love her every day and appreciate everything she did for the family. I would romance her, take her out, be there for her whenever she needed me. I mean, if this is oppression, I would like some oppression, please. Anyway, I digress. At some point reading, I just passed out. When I got up, my 3 best friends were in the kitchen with my dad making dinner. I know these guys since I was a child. Let's call them Mike, Bob, and Frank. My dad had invited them and brought them up to speed. I soon broke down again, and I was completely out of it until Friday evening. Mike is ex-military. He lost his left arm below the elbow. We were actually all there for him when he was in recovery, and his wife bailed on him. Luckily, they didn't have any children. Mike has adopted 2 kids and got a very nice girlfriend a few years ago, so he did okay. He set up a Zoom call with his counselor that helped him when he went through recovery. He helped me a lot to understand what was happening with me emotionally. Even though he specialized in amputees, he told me most wives sadly bail when their husbands are injured, and his stories and examples helped me a lot. He asked me to see my soul identity, spiritual self, as having a large part of it tied to my marriage and role as a husband. That part is dead now, and just like an amputee will suffer phantom pain in a missing limb, I will feel phantom pain from the dead part of my identity. We spent hours talking, and I have been steadily improving since. Bob is an executive in Summit Security Company. He never talks much about his job. I don't actually know what he does, but he is very well off. Bob called some law firm that is on retainer for the company, and Sunday morning I was talking to a lawyer that I could never in my wildest dreams afford to even talk to. Bob has always been a huge nerd and was bullied a lot. He told me not to worry about the bill. He would cover it. He was happy to finally be able to repay me for the beatings I frequently took for him, interfering with his bullies. Frank is a teacher in a private school for kids and is married with 7 children. Yes, that's right, 7. My kids just love him and the rest of his family to death. Frank has been making sure my kids are okay and cared for while I get back on my feet and get my ducks in a row. Yesterday was a very hectic day. It started with an STD screening early in the morning. The BH gave me chlamydia. Another screening in 6 months. My self-pity party switched to pure effing anger when I found out. That's it for me. Close off full custody. I will give her nothing if I can get away with it. The lawyer managed to track down the ex-husband of my wife's feminist friend who bragged about how she screwed him over. It was apparently very easy via the court documents. I wouldn't have even thought about that. I talked to him on WhatsApp. He thanked me a lot, but also told me about everything this Harpy did to him. Now I know what to expect from my ex. It was sickening. I was ready for a fight after our chat. I am preparing for war. It was heartbreaking hearing how he had been homeless and how he hardly had seen his kids in 4 years, all based on his ex-wife's lies. I accept how I am at a disadvantage as a man in the court system. I will make sure I have tons of evidence. My lawyer suggested a preemptive strike via a restraining order due to her negative and aggressive comments about males in general. Especially for our son's sake, growing up in a household with an openly anti-male parental figure is obviously very damaging, so I am going for full custody. I told the lawyer to go ahead. She expects her to be served the restraining order today. I had a call with my wife on Zoom. Keep in mind that she hasn't reached out to me at all since she showed up at the door to argue with my dad. She hasn't reached out to the kids or anyone else either, so it's not like she cares about any of us. The call was absolutely bizarre. She was all made up with a massive cleavage. It was obvious she was trying to look her absolute best. I haven't seen her that dolled up for years. Throughout the entire conversation, she tried to bait me into a fight to get me angry. I managed to keep cool. My lawyer had told me what to ask for. Apparently, it's very positive if attempts are made for an amicable divorce prior to filing for a contested divorce. I was recording. I even told her. My wife didn't disappoint. She started out with this absurd statement about how there are 2 types of penises, one that is roughly the same size whether it's erect or not, and the other type that shrinks and grows based upon whether it's erect or not. What the actual F? Who opens a call with their husband like that? Then she mused about how she was looking forward to the end of the current restrictions so she could go out and investigate this more in person. I simply responded that I wasn't interested in her hobbies and was only interested in discussing our divorce. She got openly hostile when I didn't take the bait and get angry like she wanted. At one point, she told me she was going to the bathroom and muted herself. Then I watched as she conferred with her friends about what she could do with me. She cursed me out for nothing more than being a man several times throughout the call. I still had this strange feeling that she was seeing this as some form of game, that she was in control, and that I had no other option than to put up and shut up and give in to anything she wants. We made 0 progress on our actual divorce, so I concluded, okay, fine, a contested divorce it is then. By the way, you gave me chlamydia, and unlike you, I haven't been sleeping with anyone else, so you better get yourself to the clinic. She just frowned at me like, you're right, I don't believe you. I seriously have no idea at all what is going on with her, and at this point, I no longer care. I sent the recording to the lawyer, and she was shocked, to say the least. Everyone thinks my wife is insane at this point. Maybe she is. Since I own her phone and the subscription, I can actually use the chat logs as well in court. Turns out it's fully legal to monitor my own device as much as I want. After our call, there was frantic discussion between the Harpies, but I could finally put it aside. I no longer care what they talk about. My lawyer is confident we will win this thing unless there is something I haven't told them about. So there we are. It still hurts, but I can treat it as phantom pain at this point. I have abandoned feeling sorry for myself, and I'm going for the jugular. No prisoners. I need to protect myself and my kids. I am good. My kids will be fine. I will make sure they get therapy as much as they want. My ex-wife will soon be a distant memory, and I will start building a new, better life. Edit. I found out today that she knew about the chlamydia and got treatment, but didn't tell me. That effing BH. She was joking and laughing with her new friends about it. Effer. Update 2. Cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? I get a lot of feedback like I am strong or winning in some way or somehow getting out on top. Rereading my posts, I can see that my anger towards the situation filters through, and I could seem defiant and sure of myself. Truth is, I am not. I wish this never happened. I wish my family was still intact and that I had a long, lazy, comfortable life ahead of me with my wife as the kids grow and start their own lives. No one is the winner here. My wife has gone off the rails and the entire train is burning in the ditch. I don't know what is wrong with her. She refuses to see medical professionals for possible mental issues, and she is acting like nothing is wrong still. She shows no remorse or regret. She acts like I am unreasonable for not just accepting whatever she wants, and she has hardly even talked to the kids since D-Day. I am divorcing her, taking action, and moving forward with separating our lives because I have to. Her behavior has left me no choice, and by now there is no way back. I wish so much this wasn't necessary. I can never trust her ever again, and I cry myself to sleep every night for my own loss and the fact that my children will now grow up in a broken home. It also breaks my heart that my children in reality no longer have a functional relationship with their mother. Question: how do you answer this question from your child? Why doesn't mommy want to see me anymore? Doesn't she love me? How the heck do you answer that? If anyone knows, please let me know because I sure as hell don't. Every day I wake up and tell myself that my heart is already smashed into so many broken pieces that it can't possibly break anymore, only to be proven wrong all day, every day. My wife still doesn't know that I can monitor her communications, or she doesn't care. She is 100% convinced that I will never leave her and that my reaction to her behavior is totally unjustified. She keeps talking badly to her friends about me, our marriage, and our children. I don't understand why she hates us so much. We haven't done any of the things she accuses us of doing to her friends. As I mentioned before, my lawyer won a temporary restraining order against her. There was a hearing yesterday morning, and since there were no new direct threats, it wasn't extended. My lawyer suggested using the fact that she knowingly infected me as a threat to try to get her to agree to an undisputed divorce. I wish we could separate in a reasonable process. I hate the fact that I have to see her as the enemy and always assume the worst possible outcome. If she wanted to leave me, I would be able to live with that. But why force me into this extremely adversarial process? Why does she do her best to hurt the people that used to love her as much as possible in the process? What possible gains can she have from this? I would appreciate any insight on this. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If I go to court, I will probably have to pay her a lump sum for the equity in our house, etc. I will probably not be liable for alimony, and since she doesn't show any interest in the kids, I am hopeful I will win custody of them if it goes to court anyway. My lawyer suggested we try to get her agreement for an amicable divorce. I agreed, and we will meet with my soon-to-be ex and her representative hopefully this week. The ex-husband that was defrauded by the lying Harpy spent New Year's Eve with me and the kids. The injustice of the justice system against fathers is just incredible. Now I have no delusions of receiving a fair process if we go to court. His ex lied her head off, and the court just took it as fact, no proof whatsoever. He has hardly seen his children since. He has been forced to pay unreasonable amounts of alimony and child support, and it's pretty much broken him. He has been contemplating ending things permanently. With the new evidence he gets from me, he has renewed hope. We both talked to my lawyer. She suggests he sits on the evidence until the meeting with my wife and her counsel. If he takes action now, we'll show our hand that we have access to all their communications. My lawyer's goal is to divorce me and my wife as soon as possible, as smoothly as possible. Right now, I just hope I can get away from her. If she decides to fight, it can drag on for a long, long time. It's stressing me out. I just need to get free. I will post an update if I get a meeting or if we go directly to a disputed process in court. Update 3. Cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? Sadly, the bizarre situation continues. The meeting with my lawyer and my wife was yesterday afternoon. She showed up 30 minutes late. She didn't bring a lawyer and claimed she didn't have or need one. Instead, she brought one of her new Harpy friends censored. My lawyer had given me very strict instructions on how to behave. I was not to react to anything they said in a negative way. If they addressed me, I was to respond in a non-confrontational manner, or positively if I could. If my lawyer put one or both of her hands flat on the table, I needed to keep my mouth completely shut. So, it looks like on the surface I will get through this divorce a lot easier than I first thought. She can still hire legal representation and dispute this. My lawyer told me she would try to call in every possible favor she could think of to get me a hearing with a judge as soon as possible. It will probably be a video call. I've also hired a pie after the advice I got here on Reddit, and he got photos of my wife making out with two different guys at two different bars yesterday, and she went to a hotel with one of them. So, I have lots of evidence piled up if I need it. I just hope it's enough if it comes to that. My wife signed to give me full custody, only a one-time payment, no spousal support, no nothing, just $60K, and I am free. Now I just gotta find the money. I got a plan, and Bob offered to front me the entire amount if need be. I still don't feel like this is real. I fully expect her to pull. Here is my aggressive lawyer, and I am accusing you of molesting the kids and domestic abuse, out of her hat. My lawyer told me to keep a very low profile, pay for everything I normally pay for, and don't rock the boat in any way at all. The advice is don't talk to anyone we both know. Just sit still and wait. Don't respond to anything. Basically zero initiative until the hearing. So now all I need to do is to be patient and hope for the best. Update 4. Cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? So, yesterday was the hearing. I am basically divorced. It will take 4 to 6 months for the paperwork to be official. But at this point, there is basically nothing anyone can do to change the outcome. The only option is if me and my wife together stop it. I am so effing tired. I haven't slept in I don't know how many days, so if I am a bit all over the place, I'm sorry. I just need to get this all out. I need to vent. Hopefully, I can get some sleep after I type it out. My awesome lawyer got me an early hearing just 12 days after submitting the paperwork. No doubt she called in some favors on this one. I am getting off track. From the weekend up until today has been insane. Friday morning, a whole bunch of police officers knocked at my door with a warrant to search the house. I was very confused. I was worried about the kids, so I asked if I could bring the kids outside while they did their search. Thankfully, they agreed to that. They didn't really tell me much, but I did get a copy of the warrant. I was so shaken up I couldn't really make any sense of it. I guess everyone that said that my ex-wife's behavior was probably drug-related is right. It's safe to say that is at least a factor in this. The cops set about completely trashing my house. I called my lawyer, and she talked to them, but the warrant was valid, so there wasn't anything that could be done at the time. I didn't think about it when it happened, but I have cameras everywhere now. In case I get wrongfully accused, I have video and sound of everything. I could possibly make a claim later if I want to. To be honest, I don't really know if I have the energy or will for that. Maybe I just put a line over it and move on. I didn't know it then, but my ex and her 3 Harpy friends drove my car while high and drunk and crashed into a house at high speed. They were all arrested, all of them drunk, and they all had drugs in and on their bodies. They were pretty roughed up by the crash. The one in the passenger seat is in critical condition. They don't know if she will even make it. The lead Harpy, let's call her Henrietta, is the one that bragged about screwing over and lying about her ex-husband in court. Let's call her ex-husband Henry. Me and Henry have become really good friends. I will get back to him. Thankfully, they didn't find anything from the search. I gave my statement that my ex doesn't live here anymore. She lives with her parents. I don't know what she is doing. No, I didn't give Henrietta permission to drive my car, etc. When I got back in the house, I just broke down. Everything was completely trashed. It was just the last straw, I guess. The only thing I could think of was to call my dad, who brought me and the kids home to stay with my mom. Dad then got a whole group together, 26 friends and relatives. While I was sobbing on the back porch, eating my mom's amazing comfort food, feeling sorry for myself, they completely cleaned and fixed my entire house. They did every single room. Clothes, dishes, furniture, even washing the ceiling and walls. It's never been this clean. They even fixed all the little things like loose door handles, etc. I just couldn't believe they would do such a thing for me. I have no idea how I can ever repay them. I went from suicidal to feeling pretty good over the weekend, thanks to them. The cops found more drugs at Henrietta's house, and her boyfriend wasn't there. No babysitter either, just the kids alone. The kids were taken by CPS, and Henry won temporary emergency custody Saturday after showing the judge the chat logs combined with the abandonment and piles of drugs. He got custody without much difficulty. Henry is over the moon happy. He has hardly seen his kids the last 5 years. He had been raising money to fight Henrietta in court when this happened. He still needs to go to court to make it permanent. But the odds are really good at this point. Everybody thinks Henrietta will have to serve time. If her friend doesn't make it, probably serious time. After that, he will try for child support and compensation for all the crap Henrietta did. He isn't expecting much on this, though, and to be honest, I think he doesn't want to waste his time fighting in court. He wants to be with his kids and make sure they have a good life. It's pretty clear that Henrietta has been very neglectful towards them. Bob has been a champ and set Henry up in a rental apartment through a friend. I've come to realize that I know practically nothing about Bob's private or professional life. I intend to remedy that. Anyway, I'm off track again. Henrietta was at the wheel when she drove off the road and into a house. They were all pretty banged up, and due to the situation, the alcohol, and the drug, search warrants were issued for everyone's residence. My ex is still registered with her residence at my house. I decided on Sunday that I am selling this house and moving away ASAP. I am afraid this will probably happen again. On Sunday, I get a call from her parents. Their house got searched as well. They had visited their daughter in jail on Saturday, and they no longer trust anything she tells them. Long story short, they came over to talk on Sunday, and it turns out she has been lying to them about everything. The nights she has been out partying and cheating, She told them that she was staying with me and we were trying to work things out. They had no idea what was actually going on or what she has done to me and the kids. They knew she cheated, but they believed it was a one-time drunken mistake. That's basically what she told them. On Monday, my wife calls me to try to get me to post bail. It's $15K, and her parents have already told her no. After talking to my lawyer, she made some papers that the bail is subtracted from the settlement until she shows in court and the bail is released. The agreement included her mother as the custodian of the remaining amount. My lawyer didn't want my wife to have any excuse for not attending the hearing. That's why she wanted me to get her out. I didn't really have a choice, and she signed. She was released Monday afternoon. From what her parents tell me, she refused to comply with the terms they had for her to continue living there. Terms like stop doing drugs, commit to rehab, open everything policy, drop the bad friends, etc. She apparently left their house on Tuesday to stay with some of her new friends. She didn't show for the hearing, and after showing the judge everything, including the events over the weekend, I won full custody. The settlement is according to the agreement we made. It was quick, only 30 minutes. It will take 4 to 6 months to go through the paper mill, but in reality, it's done. There isn't really anything that can be done to stop this now. That brings us to today. I was unable to sleep. Everybody was congratulating me and treating me like I had some major victory. But it sure as hell doesn't feel like I won anything. This is just pain. I still love my wife. I know it's over, and there is absolutely no way back. Still, she was my best friend, my soulmate up until recently, and even though I feel my love for her has been mortally wounded, it's still there, and it hurts like a mother fur. There are no winners in this. I lose, my wife loses, my kids lose. I don't really have the words. It feels like I'm being asked to celebrate that I have lost both my legs, but because I took action, one of my legs could be cut below the knee while the other still was cut above. When people congratulate me, it feels almost like that, like they are commending me for saving half a kneecap while losing both my legs. So I can't really sleep, and when I do, I am torn through terrible nightmares that wake me up drenched in cold sweat. I am complaining a bit here, sorry. Update 5. Cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? A lot of people PM'd me for an update. I was going to post one yesterday, but I just didn't have the energy. I am kind of depressed and very, very tired. I hardly ever sleep, and when I do, I am plagued by nightmares. Good news is the kids are doing better. My dad is a champ. I don't know what I would do without him. We went to his cabin to ski a bit this weekend, me, him, and the kids. It was great. I have basically no contact with my ex. I did talk to one of her Harpy friends, the one that was in critical condition. She woke up, but she's in terrible shape. I talked to her nurse, and she was sad that no one had bothered to look in on her while she was there. They had contacted her family, and they had just refused to see her. I am worried the people that beat up my ex will come for me and the kids. So I asked via the nurse if I could talk to her, and she agreed. No, I shouldn't, but I felt I needed to ask her about what had happened since my wife started working with them. She started off asking me if I wanted a BJ for $20, so that wasn't awkward at all. I offered her $50 in exchange for information instead. The Harpy friends are all hardcore drug users, addicts. Henrietta dragged my wife into their group against the wishes of the other two and convinced her to try drugs and party with them. They sold sexual favors to get money for drugs. Henrietta is the lead on this. They all preach the strong feminist, my own body stuff, but as she put it, it's all BS to protect our own imagined egos. What we really do is prostitute ourselves for money to buy drugs. My wife bought into the BS first, and it didn't take long until she was addicted just like the rest of them. Once she was hooked, she too eventually started selling sex to pay for drugs. Not easy hearing that the person you loved more than anything turned herself into a whore to meet her drug addiction. It makes sense why all she wanted was the money now. From what she tells me, it's mainly meth. No one visited her because she has stolen, cheated, abused, and lied to everyone in her life, and no one wants anything to do with her. She told me without even blinking how sad she was that she survived. She has zero hope for the future, and she looks like walking death without her makeup. It was painful. I was devastated just listening to her. I cried a lot for my wife's sake. I am not excusing her. She made the choice to play with this S, and she lost. Now she will pay the price. She also told me all about the guys that beat up my ex-wife. I will get back to this later. I've been very scared that the guys that beat up my wife were going to come after me and the kids. Remember, Henry presented chat logs in court that they believe my wife gave to Henry. I talked to Henry about it, and he decided that he would fix this since he benefited from the disclosure. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Henry is an angry meat mountain of a man. He grew up on a farm, carrying stuff since he was a kid, so he looks like a Hulk and could rip the average man in half. He bends down walking through doorways. He has a crew cut and some facial scars. Let's just say he is very intimidating if you don't know him. In reality, he is infinitely patient, gentle, and kind. I don't doubt he will use force if he finds it necessary, but for him, it's a last resort. Anyway, he went to the guy's apartment, a real shithole, by the way. He grabbed the two guys by the neck and told them that Henrietta had given him the chat logs, and since they hurt someone he knew, they had a choice to make: go with him to the police and confess everything relating to the assault, or face him right there and expect some very painful, permanent injuries if they chose option 2. As he told it to me, he let them know that he was very hopeful they would choose option 2. They apparently couldn't get to the police fast enough. Needless to say, I no longer worry about them. I have found a new apartment, and I will be moving soon. Bob once again came through. All in all, I am very depressed. This is heavy on my soul. What keeps me going is my friends and family, and I know I need to stay strong for the kids. My heart breaks for my ex despite everything. I don't regret marrying her. I still love her, but I know we can never be back together. She isn't the person she used to be, and there is just too much pain between us. Despite all the pain recently, we had a very good life before that. I wouldn't have my children if it wasn't for her, and I wouldn't give them up for anything. I know it's going to hurt for a long time. I hope I am strong enough to get through it. Strangely enough, news of my wife's addiction has helped my kids deal with it. It's much easier to talk about how mommy is sick, and it's going to take a long time for her to get well. She still loves them, etc. Right now, I'm sad and tired. Henry is here with his kids. We are going to watch Madagascar 3. I think I'm trying to make as many good new memories as possible. Henry is doing the same, and his and my kids look like they are doing a lot better now. I think we will be okay. Thank you, everyone, for all your help. This will be my last post here, I think. Last update: cheating wife ruined family and Christmas. Why does she expect me to be okay with her behavior? My ex passed away while in rehab. We don't know how she even got the drugs. She must have taken them while inside somehow, but no one actually knows how. One doctor speculates that she swallowed a bag or something and that it burst. Well, folks, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the content as much as I enjoyed making it. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment below with your thoughts and tell me your stories. I'd love to hear them. Cheers, and see you in the next one.